Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Let's Talk Finances. I am Dr. Nina White. If you're tuning in live, I'm so glad you're watching, and if you're looking at the replay, thanks for tuning in as well. Listen, over the last few weeks, we have been doing a lot of fundamental work. We've been talking about stability, how to structure it, the behavior systems, and protection all work together to keep your finances ready. I hope you all have been enjoying these last few episodes. I hope that you have been taking some nuggets from it and applying it to your finances, your everyday life, because as we continue to dive deeper into these subjects, you're going to be glad that you are tuning in every week, because I'm telling you, this information is working. People are calling me and they're so excited that I'm even doing this, right? So I just want you to make sure that you continue to learn, continue to tune in, because I'm telling you, as you continue to learn about savings, as you continue to learn about budgeting, as you continue to learn about your numbers, you're going to be so happy, and it's going to make so much sense to you in the long run. So today we're going to shift our conversation just a tad bit, okay? Just a tad bit. Because while financial security is important, and you know all I've been drilling about it, and it is important. And don't get me wrong, it matters, but financial growth is what creates long-term independence. It's what gives you those options. It will allow you to stop trading your money over time, right? So you don't have to you don't want to be losing it. So this is what's going to help you. So today we're going to talk about investing with intention. Not no hypes, not no trends, not guesswork, but investing in a way that actually supports the life that you're trying to build. So as I tell you every week, get your pen and your pad, call your family in the room, send a text message, tell somebody to tune in, because we're getting ready to dive deeper right into investing with intentions. So, while investing is essential for long-term wealth, let me start this by saying something that might feel just a little bit uncomfortable for some people. Saving alone will not build wealth. Yes, that's right. Saving alone will not build wealth. We've, of course, like I stated to you all over the last few episodes, talking about savings, talking about the 50-30-20 rule. You're going to consistently hear me refer back to the 50-30-20 rule, because I want you to truly understand it, right? So even with that, and I'm talking about 20% going into savings, but like I have been telling you, you got to get out of debt first. And so you can still save even while attempting to get out of debt, but the bulk of the money that you're getting is you're getting out of debt. You're paying your debt on time and things of that nature. So even though we've been talking about savings, that alone will not build wealth. You can hear people say, well, I've saved this amount of money and that amount of money, but I'm still struggling. I still am not getting where I want to be. You've written down what you want to do. You've written out the plan, right? You wrote the vision. You made it plain, what it looks like for you and what you want to do, but you're still not there, and you're saying, I'm doing the savings, I'm doing this, but I'm not getting where I want to be. So with that, savings is important and it's necessary, but it does not get you to the finish line. We educate about wealth transference, generational wealth, financial literacy, being free, being able to do other things. You want to be a blessing to other people, but you can't do it if you don't have it, right? So this is what I want you to understand. After talking to different people, clients, people that I just run into randomly that know that I'm in finance, they'll say, they're excellent savers. They're even disciplined. They're even consistent in what they're doing. And years later, they're still frustrated. They're still frustrated because their money wasn't moving, right? And the way that the lifestyle that they have, it wasn't moving. So remember, when I was telling you to name your money, give it an assignment, tell it what to do. This is the same thing when it comes to investing. You want to tell your money what to do because you want a return on it. So you want to make sure that you get with someone who this is their specialty, right? Now listen, I don't know everything about investing. I don't know a lot about it, but I have people that are around me that I can connect you with, right? And if you don't have that person in your life and you say, I want to learn about investing, I want to learn about stocks, I want to learn about that, you want to make sure that you connect with the right people that will steer you in the right direction. Let me emphasize that will steer you in the right direction, because everyone is not an expert at this, right? You want to make sure that you're connecting with the right people. So even as I stated, they'll become frustrated, because their money isn't moving because of their lifestyle. And what you have to look at is costs are going up. Their goals were getting bigger, right? They had some big goals and those were getting bigger, but their savings just wasn't keeping up with them. It just absolutely was not keeping up. And so that's inflation at work. I mean, listen, you all are watching the news every single day. You're hearing how things are going up, how things are increasing. You're hearing about gas increasing. You're hearing about the price of oil, whatever. These things are increasing. And even to the point of when you're purchasing your everyday, your everyday items, or you're online shopping and then you got to pay extra fees for shipping and all of this, when those fees absolutely were not that high, a couple of years ago. That's inflation. So it's quiet because you don't know, right? It sneaks up on you. It's quiet. And over time, it slowly eats away at our purchasing power. So, investing gives your money a job to do. It allows you to say, this is what I wanted to do, and of course you may come across some type of investments where you may lose, right? But then you may have some investments where you're gonna get some great wins. And so that's what it's all about. Now, listen, one thing I've always heard, and I always say it also, scared money don't make money either, right? So you can't be afraid at all to invest, right? So if you're going to invest, you want to make sure this is what you're ready to do. But I also want you to remember, just because you're savings, that doesn't mean that's going to get you to that wealth that quickly. And this isn't an overnight thing. This isn't no pyramid scheme. I'm just letting you know that it's going to take time and you will eventually see it. Even as I've been saying to you with the 50-30-20 rule, you will see it, but it's going to take time. This isn't overnight, right? So again, when you're investing, it allows your money to outspace inflation, right? It grows through the compounding. It supports future goals like retirement, business expansions, or generational wealth. I literally just said that to you all, right? So when we look at the cost of everything going up, and you're saying, okay, this is going up, the price of gas. You may love to travel. I love to travel, and I don't mind driving. Now, I'm a fly, but I don't mind driving. I don't mind getting on 95 and just driving, right? And the price of gas, literally, it seems like every state is a different cost, right? And so you're like, well, I would get, premium over here. It may be $3.89 a gallon. You go somewhere else or another gas station and the gas may be $4 a gallon. And you're like, it's not even a big distance between the two, right? However, that's inflation, and then you got to also know about those gas stations that offer, discount, 20% off, and 20 cents off of the gallon or something like that. Now listen, me personally, I love Wawa. So I get my gas from Wawa. But you all can go wherever you want. But I like Wawa's gas. I also like Wawa's coffee too. So listen, so again, like I stated, this is what it does, right? it will definitely outpace inflation. So as you do the investing and you see, you're investing, you're watching it, right? And you want to get with someone who's going to help you understand what that is for you. Break it down. The same thing we do in accounting, I break it down for clients to understand, almost so like a 5-year-old can understand it, right? Because when we're using our accounting jargon, amongst one another, we understand what it means. But if I go out here and speak this to somebody who has no clue, they'll say, "Man, what are you talking about?" So you have to break it down so that even a 5-year-old can understand it. So get with someone who can do that too when it comes to your the financial literacy, getting investments. Get that person who says, "Listen, I've been doing investments for 20 plus years. I've been dealing with stocks for 20, whatever, the stock market." Get with people who've been doing it for a long period of time and ask them, break it down so it can make sense to me, right? And so that's one thing. And again, like I said, it supports future goals. You're not trying to work all your life. You want to be able to retire. I can say for myself, my financial advisor, that's right, I got one too. I deal with everybody else's money. I got to have somebody deal with mine, okay? So my financial advisor would say to me, "You need to put more money, in your IRA." And I said, "Well, how much more money?" He said, "You don't plan on working the rest of your life, do you? You have to put more money into it." And I recall putting money into it, and at one point I remember taking from it, and I got penalized, right? And that was a heavy penalty on me for pulling it out, but I needed it. Remember I was talking about that last week about taking money from your savings, unexpected expense pulls up, now you're pulling from here and there. I should have talked to him and said, "Is this a good time for me to pull it out? What should I do?" But I didn't. I just said, "Hey, I'm pulling this money out because I need it right now," right? So again, business expansion. Business owners, hey, listen, you're not trying to be in that small one-room office forever. You want to expand your business. You want people to know about you, hear about your business, and the only way that's going to happen is you expand. You got to do marketing. You need money for that, right? Investments will help you there. It will help you there. That generational wealth. Our children are coming up. This next generation, they're going to be our doctors, our lawyers, our teachers, our accountants, right? That's who they are. And so we need to prepare them, generational wealth, so they don't have to go through the things that we did as children or young adults and, get out in the real world and start to, work and understanding it. I often use my daughter as an example because I've been teaching her about finances since she was a little girl. And with that, I know that the things that I taught her, when she goes out and get her own place, she's going to know what to do. She's going to know how to save. She's going to know how to cut costs. And she's going to know that I don't need all these credit cards because, again, I don't know how these companies know these people turn 18 years old, but they know. And then here comes the credit cards. And so she understands that right now, even, in college, she gets it. It makes sense to her, right? So I know she's going to be just fine. I don't have a care in the world when it comes to her because I know I've taught her. Everything that I can, everything that I do, I've taught it to her. So again, that generational wealth, right? And so wealth building isn't about luck, right? Or having some inside information. So, people be like, "Oh, you got this because, you got lucky or you knew somebody that, an insider on something, like the stock market or something. Oh, somebody that work at the stock market and you think, oh, I got some inside connection. They probably doing the same exact thing that they telling you, right? And so it's about strategy and time. So again, this takes time. You have to plan it. There's a plan you got to put in place, right? So a lot of common investing mistakes, right? This is some things, I'm going to give you some little nuggets that is a common mistake. So one thing that I hear a lot about, especially with high income earners, is hesitation. So they're like, they got the money, but they're hesitant on making an investment, right? So they'll say things like, I'm waiting for the right time. When is it the right time? I want to understand how everything is before I start. I got people to do that with just accounting, period. Well, how you do this and how you do that? Well, before I do that, I want to make sure. It's the common mistakes, right? And I'll invest once things slow down. The way this world is going, it's speeding up. We're in February already. We just said Happy New Year. So this world is speeding up, and so you want to know when when it slows down. That's a common mistake. Again, it's important to make sure that you get someone this is what they're proficient in. They understand it, so that they can sit down and talk with you about it, right? And again, before you know it, as they said, they're waiting for it to slow down. But before you know it, time has passed, and now you're saying, oh, I wish I would have, or I should have, or could have, but you didn't, right? So, those things are common mistakes. Even people, get large amounts sitting in accounts earning almost nothing. They think, it's sitting in the savings account and it's getting 0.2%, 0.3, maybe 1, you're gonna get interest. The banks make you think that, but on all the high earner, you got a large amount of money. No, invest it, right? Because it's just sitting there, and you're afraid of making the wrong move, right? So you definitely want to, again, strategize. Take your time. It's not an overnight thing. It's going to take its time, but you're going to start to see it grow. You're going to start to see it doing its work because you told your money what to do, and now it's doing it, right? And so even though investing can feel intimidating, if no one really explains it to you properly, yeah, you will be intimidated, right? So that's what I'm saying. Get with someone who can sit down and talk with you about investments. When I have people come to me and they say, well, hey, do you do investments? I say, no, I do not. But I got somebody that you can talk to relating to it. So I always got partners that I can direct you to. But because I know about investing, because I do it myself, again, it's something that I educate, especially my high income earners, right? I definitely encourage them to invest their money. I see a lot of clients that come to me, it's tax time. A lot of older clients that's retired. Once I've talked to them about lowering their tax liability on what to do, investing is definitely a way to lower your tax liability. And so once I've spoken to them and educated them, because they're getting their 401ks, they're getting their IRAs, they got investments in different, financials. It's so many out here, right? And so when they come in for their taxes, they got all these 1099-Rs. And I said, okay, but by the time we get done with their taxes, if they owed X amount of money, all of the investing that they done, the extra taxes that they had come out, when it comes to their retirement, it made sense. They are feeling good because they're not owing a whole bunch of money because they invested. They invested in their future. They invested in their grandchildren's future. Like, again, generational wealth, right? So what you have to understand is the risk is inaction, right? So the time in the market matters more than the market, right? And so you don't need you do not need perfect conditions. You just need to be consistent. Again, that goes back over what I've been saying these last few weeks, staying consistent. You have to be consistent in what you're doing, right? And understanding it. It's very important that you understand it, right? And so waiting for the perfect moment often costs you more than making a well thought out decision and getting started. Again, you all are in the room, you sitting on the couch, you're watching this, you got your family members, and I know y'all talking to one another. You're having that conversation right now. You're talking like, what you think we should do? Well, who should we call? You're having that conversation right now. As I'm speaking to you, you're having that conversation. So what does intentional investing look like? What does it look like? What do you think that it looks like? You're talking to your family members right now. Ask them what you think it look like, right? So a strong investing strategy usually includes diversification. So everything isn't riding on the outcome, right? It's not riding on the one outcome. So you got to have that diversification. The next thing is long-term planning, not short-term emotion. Remember how I was talking about the way you react, to something unexpected may happen, and you're looking at, and you act out of emotions? This is right here. Long-term planning, not short-term emotions. So don't think short-term, think long-term. Think about, again, this money that you're investing, it's building wealth for the long term, right? When I have discussions about people about their financial planning, their savings, I say to them, what is your goal? 3 to 5 years, 5 to 10, 10 to 20. We break that down. What those goals look like for you? What does your long-term goals look like for you? Not short-term, right? Automated contributions. So consistency doesn't depend on willpower, right? Staying consistent. You can set up your, auto drafts so that the money go right in there. Sometimes you can do it and you don't even see it, right? Prime example. People who, they're working and they always ask about, how else can I lower my tax liability? And I tell them to have more money come out of their, as far as additional withholdings. Because what people do, what we realize what happens is they'll have all of these deductions come out in the beginning and expect a large return on the end, but you got all your money in the beginning stages. So, or if you're in another tax bracket and you usually owe so much money, every year, then again, you want to say, well, I want additional withholdings come out. When you have it come right out, you don't even miss it. You don't even know, right? So the same thing with the investing and doing, automatic contributions. You can set it up and say, well, I want this pool every week, every month, however that looks like for you. But you can do that automatically. And guess what? You're not going to see it because it's automatic. So you're not going to be like, well, where did this extra go to? You set it up on automatic. So there's nothing for you to be worried about because now it's consistent. This is something that's going on, right? And alignment with your real life goals. That alignment piece, oh my goodness, aligning it up with your real life goals, not what your big wish. It's literally real life, what you're doing right now in this present moment. That's what it's talking about when you say aligning with your real life goals. Make sure everything strategic, you're thinking, you're going through this, right? And so then that's where you got the CFO level thinking comes in. Remember I was talking about that? CFO level thinking. You don't have to be a CFO to think like a CFO. My daughter's a junior in college. She thinks like a CFO. You don't have to be, a business owner. You don't have to be a high income earner. You don't have to be. Just think. You want to change the way you think. Shift your mindset. It is so imperative that you think about money a different way. Stop thinking about it negatively. If you would all recall growing up, or even you're not even just growing up, but even in your adult time, they say once you break $100 bill, it's gone. All the time, they'll say that. So once you break it, it's gone. Really? Is it really gone? But you that's talking negative about that money. Change the way you think. Change the way you talk about it, right? So your investments should support what matters to you. Retirement that matches your lifestyle, not just a number. Business growth or future opportunities. Legacy planning for your family, generational wealth. And the freedom to live on your own terms. That's what this is about, investing. Investing shouldn't feel random. It should feel purposeful, right? So when your strategy matches your vision, decisions get a whole lot clearer and your confidence grows so much stronger, right? I'm telling you, every single week I'm going to give you something totally different, but it's still going to connect with everything we've been talking about. It's going to be consistent. You're going to understand it. And remember, like I keep telling you, anything you do 21 days or more, it becomes a habit. You're going to just be doing it off the top of your head. You're not even going to be thinking about it because now this is a habit. So I hope that you have taken something from today's show. I hope that you learned something. I hope that you apply it to your life. Reach out to someone that does investing. Absolutely, you can reach out to our office. We have connections. We'll be able to connect you with someone that does investing so that you can have a clearer picture. So again, if today's conversation made you realize that it's time to take more intentional and a strategic approach to investing in wealth, we would love to support you at M&D Accounting, right? We would love to help you with that. And don't forget, it's tax season. So if you don't currently have anyone handling your taxes or even looking for a team that can help you build a financial bigger picture, come on over to M&D Accounting Firm. One of our team members will definitely be glad to assist you. And if you would like to book me for your next financial event or conference, reach out to our office and one of my team members will be able to help you. And don't forget, if you got a question or a comment, you can always send that to our office. You can text us at 1-844-436-2788. Text a question, text a comment. What's your name? Where you're watching from? I want to be able to shout you out on the next segment. And also, you can call our office at 1-877-839-7778 or email contact us at mdaccounting.org. I'm Dr. Nina White. Thank you for spending part of your day with me on Let's Talk Finances, and I'll see you next week.